Welcome to Onichan. Today, I will introduce the movie Baki Season 4, where the appearance of the Predator from the Jura century has caused a stir among Japan's top martial artists. He possesses ancient powers comparable to those of the monstrous Yujiro, leaving the fighters deeply fascinated by this strength. Fierce and intense battles have ensued, and the price to claim this title is exceedingly high. Who will emerge victorious and claim the coveted top spot in the world? Today, the esteemed Mr. Stridham has arrived at Baki's humble home, to inform him about a threat to the title of the venerable Yujiro, when a prominent American newspaper reported the discovery of a new creature, an enigmatic prehistoric human found in a salt mine. This mysterious individual possesses a muscular and robust physique, reminiscent of a wild hunter, leading the mining team to swiftly bring him in for research. Scientists are deeply concerned as this discovery marks a pivotal moment in human history, as this human hails from the Jura century, preserved by the salt crystals over millions of years. These ideal conditions have enabled the survival of creatures frozen in time, making it highly possible that he could awaken at any moment. Professor Payne assigned Alan the task of guarding it, when this prehistoric creature will be brought back to life. As part of Professor's resurrection project, under the name Pickle, electrodes are attached to his body, and he is immersed in a special solution to facilitate cell regeneration. And this Alan is extremely carefree, when he does not respect his specimen, but carefree eating and reading sparrows. In a moment, he realizes that he has overlooked something, as the prehistoric dinosaur has successfully thawed, and he will be the first one to feast on it, so Alan quickly takes a piece to make a dinosaur delicacy. The delightful aroma spreads everywhere, as the fried dinosaur piece is immersed in a savory sauce with a blend of 5 spices, making everyone drool. However, after taking a bite, it turns out to be quite ordinary and nothing extraordinary. Little did Alan know that the prehistoric creature had awakened, while Pickle was paying attention to his surroundings, when the scene here was completely different from the Jurassic era. But none of it interested Pickle, as the taste of the dinosaur meat had taken over everything. Pickle quickly encountered the Alan, frightening him to the core, when the creature was 3 times size, and instinctively, Alan's defense mechanisms kicked in. Fortunately, Pickle only wanted a delicious piece of meat to eat, when the 150 grams meat of Alan was not enough to satisfy his appetite, so he quickly looked around to find little dinosaur offspring. However, Alan wasn't going to let him get away that easily. He threatened Pickle with his gun, but the creature sensing danger and warned him. Nevertheless, Alan was too scared and up firing a few shots at it. A few bullets were just enough to pierce through that thick skin. Infuriating Pickle retaliated against him, making Alan terrified to the point of wetting himself. Not only that, Pickle also rushed to attack, causing Alan to use all the remaining bullets to shoot at the boy, but still could not stop this beast. Pickle caught Alan and shook him, wanting to lose his brain, when he wanted to find his dinosaur, because he was very worried about its condition, and asked Alan to quickly return it, or Pickle will give it to him goes to heaven. However, despite signaling for a while, this guy didn't understand anything, so had to knock him out fly to the wall. And Alan started to regain consciousness from his drunken stupor. He led the creature to where his dinosaur was, and quickly locking the special door, then called for 500 support troops since Pickle was extremely dangerous. Professor Payne saw that the police force was somewhat weak, so he asked the team captain to call the military for assistance, as the creature Pickle inside had tremendous strength. Just as finished speaking, Pickle smashed the wall, to prove to them that anyone who dared to harm his little dinosaur, would be beaten to the end, sparing no one. The military quickly brought their troops, equipped with a newly invented weapon that had not been tested yet, providing them with an opportunity to carry out the mission with advanced technology. Pickle found the robot quite strange and couldn't help but remark that it resembled a piece of crap from ancient times. Despite being grabbed by the neck, Pickle managed to land a punch that shattered the robot's armor. The controller was so scared that he shrank back and quickly unleashed the frog's tongue attack, only to be tightly held by Pickle, causing him to spin hundreds of times and fly far away, then sweeping through the enemy ranks. Lieutenant Stridham was quickly deployed to the battlefield, carrying modern weapons and professional forces, but he didn't use them. Instead, he quietly took off his clothes and walked over to Pickle. His determined eyes earned Pickle's trust, when only men who are not afraid to indulge themselves can bring happiness to each other. They swiftly transported Pickle to Japan. The surrounding forces quickly took him to the military base. With those sharp eyes, Pickle observed everything around him. When a beautiful reporter appeared for an interview, Pickle was surprised as he had never experienced the scent of a woman in millions of years. His wild instincts caused him to act uncontrollably in her presence. Despite the quick intervention of the soldiers to prevent the worst from happening, the tremendous force of Pickle led to the unfortunate death of the reporter. Professor Payne swiftly addressed the media, explaining that Pickle was an ancient being from the Jurassic era, frozen in the salt rock for millions of years. Thus, upon his resurrection in this world, strong lust instincts have become uncontrollable, and leading to the tragic incident with the reporter. He urged everyone to forgiveness, as Pickle had not fully assimilated into modern society, and the incident with the reporter was deeply regrettable. This explanation ignited a public outcry, as people were extremely angry and demanded punishment for this ancient being. Yujiro made his way into the US military base, when fascinated by this ancient creature. However, the vigilant guards stood in his way, forcing Yujiro to use his deadly skills to threaten them. As a result, the guards started fighting among themselves, leaving everyone confused about what had just happened. When unknown energy seemed to have influenced them, and taking advantage of the chaos, Yujiro broke through the fence and entered the base. Meanwhile, Retsu also stealthily sneaked inside, and feeling quite ashamed of his actions, when as a renowned martial artist with over 4,000 years of kung fu expertise, he was embarrassed to be resorting to such covert tactics. Nevertheless, he quickly assassinated the guard like the figure with the shadow, leaving the onlookers in awe. Despite have a conversation with each other, each move seemed to harmonize perfectly, as if they were working together. Unfortunately, Retsu was accidentally hit by a stray light bulb, leading him to knock out the guard, and find an alternate route to the ancient creature's confinement area. To his surprise as he landed, he encountered Shinogi. Both of them had come here to seek out Pickle, but Shinogi claimed he had arrived first, and would be the first to face Pickle in combat. An audacious move, Shinogi boldly declared his intention in front of Doppo, and ensuring that neither of them would be disappointed. As they prepared for the encounter, other formidable martial artists started to emerge within the confinement room, resembling a secret base they had built. The reunion of these martial artists was full of intrigue and excitement, when all donned black outfits. Everyone inside had the goal of testing their skills against Pickle, leading to a fierce and unhealthy competition. Then seeking their new companion, they were surprised to find the little guy sound asleep, even amidst the chaos of the house being torn apart. Jack had no choice but to wake the creature up, when he could sleep so soundly despite esteemed martial artists visiting the house. As Pickle stepped outside, his enormous presence made them tremble with fear, and of course, a showdown couldn't be complete without some moves. He sprayed his dragon breath after waking up. However, it was still not enough, as Pickle sensed the immense power emanating from Yujiro. The young Katsumi dared to challenge Yujiro's authority, resulting in a lesson on strength when the youngster was trying to impress everyone for recognition, and that hit the boy's soul, so he rushed to beat the old man to regain his form. However reckless it was, if you don't tie your shoelaces securely, you can't do anything. Yujiro flicked the rope to face, and advising him to train for a few hundred more years then come back. Then, Yujiro approached Pickle for an exchange, but to make the encounter more impressive, he used his own face to break through the super tough glass and stepped inside. The boxers can only watch the two planetary monsters interact with each other. Even though Pickle couldn't comprehend Yujiro's words, he could sense that this human possessed strength akin to a fierce dinosaur. Today, they had a thrilling exchange of blows, as two savage beasts personifying two immense sources of power collided. At that moment, the US military had completely surrounded the area, and they demanded that Yujiro come out. Commander Henry rushed to plead with him to halt this visit, as he was under pressure from higher authorities, and requested Yujiro to leave the place. In reality, Commander Henry was actually begging Yujiro, as knowing that they couldn't stop him and wanting to overlook the situation to avoid any complications. Yujiro didn't want to cause trouble for them either, so he requested that they arrest all the remaining martial artists inside. Thus, the group of martial artists was escorted to vehicles, and taken to the police station, when old man Yujiro pointed out the group of masters. While Retsu was demonstrating his 4,000-year-old kung fu, he couldn't let his martial skills go to waste. He sought to elevate himself to another level, as Pickle's wild nature had stirred something within his heart, making everything else unimportant. Meanwhile, Pickle was transported to the arena of the old man Toku. He had refrained from eating or drinking anything for days, because the modern cuisine failed to interest him. Pickle adhered to the principles of the Jurassic era, only consuming the flesh of his opponents. This created a sense of pride among hunters, as even modern-day creatures would flee at the mere sight of him. The elders were deeply concerned about this, and saw only one way to awaken his desire. Professor Payne suggested a fight between Pickle and a Siberian tiger, a species had listed as highly extinct. these tigers were fearless and considered the strongest creatures in the present day. Upon seeing the Siberian tiger, Pickle became extremely excited, and quickly rushed to embrace the creature in his arms, leaving the tiger breathless and unable to react to the sudden embrace. As a result, the Siberian tiger became fresh food for Pickle's victory, and the news of this incident spread to various media outlets. Professor Payne, who had brought the extinct creature for Pickle's meal, faced criticism from the public, as they deemed him overly obsessed with this ancient being. Retsu received this information, and promptly sought out Old Man Toku to discuss matters. He expressed his willingness to offer himself as a sacrifice for Pickle, to seeking a historic battle. With 100% confidence level, Retsu believed he could emerge victorious and wouldn't be easily devoured. He saw this as a life and death gamble, fully committed to the outcome of the battle. Although Professor Payne tried to intervene and stop them, but Captain Stridham and Old Man Toku were fascinated by the prospect of witnessing the battle between 4,000 years of kung fu and the prehistoric creature. As Retsu stepped closer to the arena, Pickle immediately sensed the presence of his prey and became alert, and knowing that he now had another potential meal in sight. Although Retsu's words were incomprehensible to Pickle, he could sense his hunger through the trembling lips and decided to strike. He landed a swift blow on Retsu, but the martial artist quickly turned serious, and retaliated with devastating strikes, causing Pickle to cry out in pain, as his meal turned out to be more challenging than expected. Retsu took advantage of the opportunity and unleashed a series of brutal attacks on Pickle, when no opponent had ever endured such relentless and powerful strikes before. But all those assumptions were completely wrong. When Pickle slapped Retsu's face with hand lying motionless, then the little guy shed tears, when he got to savor the running chicken dish today, making the crowd cry out in shock. This Pickle guy was devouring his opponent's meat. Retsu quickly got up and launched a few attacks to break the encirclement. At first Retsu thought it was just a joke, but who knew Pickle would actually do it? So there's no forgiveness for this anymore, and he charged in for an attack. But unexpectedly, he was counter-attacked and fell flat on the ground, shaking Retsu's master's mind, as he now used the technique to attack the opponent. Those attacks seemed to be only for young rookies, but little did anyone know that our master Retsu has 4,000 years of kung fu experience and still uses them effortlessly, leaving Pickle extremely surprised facing his formidable opponent. But somewhere deep within Retsu, there was still an untapped skill that he had unconsciously harnessed, using it to counter his opponent naturally. In his soul, the image he had pursued appeared, and today that person bestowed upon him a power inherent in kung fu martial arts, an infinite instinctual skill. Therefore, Retsu applied it in his battle against Pickle, and those strikes proved to be incredibly effective, making the opponent cry out in shock. With natural reflexes and instincts, without the need for conscious, Retsu forced his opponent to collapse before him. But all of that became meaningless as Pickle got up with his predatory stance, causing Retsu to be extremely worried, as he had never seen such movements before, and he was prepared for the hand-to-hand duel with the opponent. As Pickle charged in fiercely for the attack, that was the moment when Retsu unleashed his skill. However, the blow was too powerful, sending our Retsu flying through barriers and getting stuck in wall. Pickle shed tears and advanced towards the defenseless Retsu, making it a perfect opportunity for him to claim victory. Despite Old Man Toku's attempt to intervene, he got slapped for trying to interfere. When the prey is right at your mouth, how can you refuse? So Pickle bit down on Retsu's thigh to satisfy his craving. As in ancient times, the loser would be eaten by the opponent, and that was the philosophy of life in those times. However, Old Man Payne injected a sedative into the little guy, rendering him unconscious to save Retsu's life. The next day, Retsu felt a deep sense of shame, as he had failed to keep his promise to his opponent, and inflicted wounds upon himself, losing things that he could never regain. Doppo quickly received the news of Retsu's defeat in the match against Pickle, and called his vengeful son to discuss a plan. This encounter with Pickle was not merely an exchange of martial arts, but a battle of predators, where Pickle would feast on the flesh of his opponents. On the other side, the two old men were anxious as Pickle had broken free and fled. When he only wanted to find a place up high to chill under the lights, there was a tall, smelly man looking for a spot to relieve himself. He chose a desolate place to let out his torrential streams when unexpectedly, someone grabbed a flat object and pulled him in. Despite his resistance, it was futile because our guy, Pickle, knew how to pretend to be intellectual to infiltrate the community. With his tall stature, he made everyone curious, thinking he was a true scholar, but in fact he was a true playboy. As soon as he stepped out on the road, he got hit by a car sending him flying hundreds of meters away. He quickly got up and looked at the truck, mistaking it for a rhinoceros ready to confront him, then recklessly attacked the truck, astonishing everyone as they thought he was a monster, not a human. But the first blow of the little guy's life was when the truck's cabin fell out, causing him to bow his head to the ground. However, it didn't make him feel ashamed, and continued attacking the truck as if nothing had happened. He finally discovered a haul of fresh, delicious meat in the truck, making him ecstatic as he indulged in devouring it endlessly. Meanwhile, Katsumi kept training relentlessly to enhance his martial arts skills, and deeply angered by Yujiro's insulting words, he felt the need to prove his abilities. Meanwhile, Pickle managed to escape from Old Man Toku's arena, so he wanted to seize this opportunity to showcase prowess to everyone, then gathered 55,000 followers to search for Pickle, with the purpose of seeking revenge for Retsu's defeat. As for Pickle, he was lured into a love hotel by an incredibly seductive and enticing hostess. Before he could get inside and indulge, he was stopped by a member of the Katsumi gang. This hotel employee seemed uncooperative, so him had to call upon 500 of his followers to surround the area, making scared the staff and yielded to this special guest. At that moment, Hanayama also arrived on the scene. No one dared to mess with him. Jamma's soldiers quickly approached their opponents and issuing threats. However, before they could utter many words, the knife was kicked away. Pickle and Jamma quickly shake hands with the legendary knife, makes everyone panic because of the coolness. Pickle then launched an attack against his adversary. Jamma's subordinates rushed to attack, but was caught by Pickle and squeezed his arm. After that, Pickle walked away, ignoring the attempts of the Katsumi gang to stop him. But found this guy so annoying, so had to beat him to unconsciousness, and the unexpected duel between Jamma and Pickle began. When Jamma being able to block his opponent's powerful strikes, surprising Pickle and thought this man was a giant rhinoceros. Jamma quickly used his reverse thrust, surprising Pickle with such strength, but little did he know that Jamma was about to change the who. Pickle didn't expect that Baki was introverted and preferred talking to himself, so Pickle had used his legendary punch on him. Baki responded with a skillful ground kick, making a 360-degree turn, and he realized that Pickle possessed strength comparable to his father's. Pickle was fascinated by this young bull's power and tried to flirtatiously lure Baki to his place. Old Man Toku was horrified at the thought of Pickle wanting to devour Baki, fearing that if Pickle harmed him in any way, Yujiro, the old man, would retaliate fiercely. Despite the warnings, the stubborn Baki kept engaging in conversation with Pickle, resulting in a swift kick that sent him flying into a benches. Pickle then performed a wild dance to provoke his opponent. But Baki was already unconscious, so there was no point in fighting anymore. Toku wanted to get him out of here quickly, as staying here for too long will easily be eaten by Pickle. On the other hand, Katsumi tirelessly trained his martial arts skills, with the support mental of Doppo. However, fate had its way him to face Retsu, who heard that the Katsumi faction was seeking revenge for him, and he managed to capture Katsumi's intentions. When you want to wear a reason to fight Pickle. But Retsu argued that with those karate skills, it would still not be enough to defeat Pickle. Therefore, Retsu's 4,000 years kung fu would be imparted to him, but it came with an exorbitant price. This made the young man decline the offer, as he wanted to stick to the traditions of his father's karate. But if Retsu is willing to teach for free, then this young guy, Katsumi, would gladly accept it. Seeing Katsumi's potential, Retsu agreed to teach for free, and would pass on all his secrets to Katsumi. With his 4,000 years of experience, it remains to be seen how much it will benefit Katsumi, when they combine the techniques of kung fu and karate. Meanwhile, Old Man Pain poured 140 tons of sleeping gas into the arena, causing Pickle to fall into a deep slumber with a peaceful soul, when he couldn't control whether Pickle would leave the arena or not. However, Old Man Toku believes that Pickle won't leave, because Pickle has established this place as his new territory. Prey will come to him without the need for hunting, and even with 140 tons of sleeping gas it's still not enough. As he remains alert, Old Man Toku suggests that the young one should get a little more sleep, and then he'll find new prey for him to feast on. Meanwhile, Retsu and Katsumi are analyzing the learning speed of velocity, focusing on objects with high speed that still deliver double damage. They aim to apply these skills to their martial arts. To achieve supersonic speed, they need to upgrade their joint movements to reach speeds of 100 km per hour, and which is extremely challenging for humans. Despite the seemingly strong punch, Katsumi believes that he cannot defeat Pickle, but Retsu feels that this punch has further potential, if he maximizes his brain's capabilities, and making it a formidable technique. At that moment, Old Man Kaku bursts into laughter, mocking the two youngsters, when he boasts about his 146 years of life experience, and claims that the skills of both Retsu and Katsumi are still at a rudimentary level. He decides to demonstrate a once-in-a-lifetime move to open their eyes, using the skill of cutting an egg at the speed of sound. And that night Katsumi diligently trained without eating or sleeping to master Old Man Kaku's skill. He had to imagine his rigid bones becoming flexible, and transforming into various segments. Katsumi pushed his imagination to new heights and struck an egg. Though the initial attempt was successful, he didn't stop there and continued perfecting it. Now, Katsumi's joint movements were divided into multiple interconnected segments, creating an immensely powerful attack that shook everything around with its immense pressure. He named his new skill, Iron Horse, and which earned great admiration from his peers. Katsumi quickly contacted Old Man Toku to schedule a match, and accepted a life-or-death battle with Pickle, where the loser would be eaten by the opponent. The next day, Katsumi quickly made his way to the arena. As he stepped onto the arena, the cheers of 55,000 martial arts enthusiasts filled the air, creating an electrifying atmosphere that sent shivers down everyone's spine. With such a powerful make, Katsumi confidently approached Pickle's position. As the monstrous creature charged towards him, Katsumi unleashed an onslaught of attacks, delivering countless blows within a single second. He followed up with a critical strike aimed at Pickle's vital spot, relentlessly hitting wherever it hurt. However, this was just the warm-up for Pickle, and started to show interest in his opponent. Pickle retaliated with a powerful kick that sent Katsumi flying hundreds of meters away, leaving him trembling at the realization of the true power of his foe. Feeling the urgency of the situation, Katsumi resorted to his newly mastered skill, Iron Horse. Pickle switched from playing to hunting mode, making the confrontation even more intense. They clashed fiercely, but Katsumi managed to unleash his Iron Horse technique, making Pickle imagine being struck by the tail of a dinosaur, signifying the devastating power of the attack. The audience was thrilled as Katsumi instilled fear in his opponent, knowing that his strike hadn't fully affected Pickle yet. But to unleash a tenfold more powerful attack, Katsumi knew he had to sacrifice a portion of his punching power. Despite the risk, Katsumi felt proud of elevating karate to a new level. Even though his strikes could hurt his own limbs, he managed to quickly bring down his opponent, leaving Pickle defeated on the arena floor. The 55,000 martial arts enthusiasts cheered and celebrated this hard-fought victory. However, the aftermath of the battle was harsh, as Katsumi had pushed his skills to the limit, and risking his very life in the process. However, Pickle made a swift recovery, and looked at his opponent with a sly smile, as his prey seemed exhausted and on the verge of defeat. When ready to be devoured, Pickle switched to his hunting mode, leaving Retsu in shock and despair. It appeared to be the end of the match. But Katsumi assured everyone not to worry, as he had one final skill yet to be unleashed. As Pickle charged forward, Katsumi imagined his arm as a whip, with the power of this strike being 20 times stronger than the Iron Horse technique. It created a perfect whip to lash at his opponent, sending Pickle flying hundreds of meters away. However, the price he had to pay for this attack was extremely high, as his arm was now nothing but a lifeless limb. Despite the sacrifice, Katsumi's warrior spirit remained unshaken, and he quickly moved towards his opponent, and create unique style to himself. The deafening cheers and applause filled the arena, as this battle would go down in history as a legendary moment in karate. Amidst that joy, Katsumi realized his opponent was merely indulging in slumber, and not yet claiming a true victory. This was Pickle's way of fighting. When he recognized that his prey had exhausted all resistance, he simply waited for it to surrender willingly, tears streaming down those eyes, when God gives his food. Katsumi knew he couldn't evade the agreement, so he offered himself as food for Pickle, a single bite that brought immense delight to the little one. Though Katsumi failed in the match, he was incredibly proud to have succeeded in winning the hearts of everyone. Old Man Toku couldn't bear witnessing those scenes, so he ordered his soldiers to aim their guns at Pickle to prevent this madness. However, Doppo intervened to stop Toku, as his actions were causing humiliation to Katsumi, and Doppo didn't want Old Man Toku to interfere, as the life of the defeated should belong to the victorious decision. Pickle showed gratitude for the encounter, as his prehistoric Jura lifestyle revolved around the rules of fighting, winning, and consuming meat. However, upon interacting in this world, he realized that even small humans possessed strength akin to the giant dinosaurs he had fought before. This admiration led Pickle to refrain from devouring his prey, as he was satisfied with the hunt. 55,000 brethren paid their respects to Katsumi. When their leader had given his all to achieve a perfect match, Everyone felt remorseful for previously underestimating Katsumi, but today, he earned their admiration and respect. Retsu quickly visited his younger brother Katsumi. Recognizing his exceptional performance from the previous day, Retsu couldn't help but feel deeply impressed. Through this experience, Katsumi had matured significantly, and expressed his desire to collaborate with Retsu to inspire a new generation of martial artists. Just then, the wild and impulsive Baki stepped in. Although these two had never been fond of each other, the battle that day left Baki deeply impressed, and he showed the utmost respect to Katsumi, and Baki would be the next one to take on Pickle. In his training room, Baki tried to imagine Pickle. Despite having witnessed the opponent's skills, he couldn't fully grasp the magnitude of Pickle's power, which was far beyond his own. This exhilarating feeling made reckless, make shivers down spine and leaving others astounded. It was like eagerly anticipating a showdown with one's greatest adversary. An indescribable thrill. Baki planned to create a surprising battle strategy against Pickle, without any prior announcements. At this moment, Baki's older brother, Jack intervened and seeking a fierce duel with Pickle. Despite the language barrier between them, they both understood that this was a challenge. Pickle knew that each prey possessed different characteristics, and this time Jack seemed more ferocious than the others. Jack quickly threw a punch at Pickle, and as he predicted, the mighty Pickle's bones proved incredibly resilient. Despite the powerful strike, Pickle stood unaffected, as if nothing had happened. Jack was intrigued by those sharp fangs and wanted to demonstrate his own dental prowess, envisioning a battle of biting, where their lips would be locked together unable to separate. The two warriors' lips met in a fiery and intense kiss, and no matter how much Jack struggled, Pickle refused to let go. This audacious kiss between combatants left Jack with several injuries on his face, but Pickle moved closer, and intending to bite again. However, Jack turned back and launched a high-flying attack. Realizing that this jaw-clenching bite was unlike anything he had faced before, when he put all his strength into that 200-kilogram punch, but his opponent showed no signs of yielding. Pickle switched to his predatory mode, recognizing Jack as a formidable opponent and lunged at him wildly. Jack used all his strength to throw the little one up into the stands, with his adrenaline pumping and his body in constant motion, rushed to the stands, grabbing hold of his adversary and relentlessly delivering blows without mercy, challenging Pickle to prove his strength. Jack had traded many things in his life to attain this level of power, and today he wanted to show Pickle what strength sacrifice truly meant. He then bit into the little one's ear. Pickle was astonished by the reckless actions of his prey, and experiencing pain from being bitten the first time, when it was an unforgivable offense, and this prey had become too insolent. Jack threw a punch at Pickle, but a perplexing phenomenon occurred. His opponent stood before him without evading the attack, and despite Jack's attempts, he couldn't land a hit. So, he tried again throwing a second punch, but it yielded the same result. As the dust settled, two holes were revealed in the arena wall, showing that Pickle had evaded Jack's punches, and quickly returned to his original position, leaving his opponent in a state of panic. Pickle then launched a frenzied attack on Jack, subjecting him to relentless strikes that seemed, leaving the little one suspended in midair and unable to touch the ground. Pickle delivered a decisive blow that sent Jack crashing into the wall, and celebrated with an exuberant dance, thrilled to have another industrial prey to feast upon. When he attempted to take a bite, but he became afraid of getting bones stuck in his teeth and turned away, reminiscent of the time he had eaten a small bee. The taste was delightful, but the bee stung him inside his mouth, tormenting him for days without rest, and today Pickle felt that this prey might be similar. Old Man Toku had a fortunate moment, when with just a little more he could die in that trap. Jack was quickly rushed to the emergency room, as the doctors tried to revive him. Just a few hours later, Jack resumed his quest to challenge Pickle. This time Pickle was more determined, and decisive in his actions, making Jack extremely fearful. Pickle believed that his prey was dead, but it could still come back for revenge. As the pressure reached its maximum, human instinct forced them to resist. Pickle gathered all his strength, and delivered a powerful blow that sent Jack spinning thousands of times, before crashing to the ground and lying motionless. Jack was taken to the emergency room again, but he continued to seek out Pickle, despite others trying to stop him. Baki revealed the truth, as the opponent viewed Jack as mere leftover food, when the guy had hung Jack on a high-rise electric pole to dry him out, preserving him as food and evaporating any stimulants in his body, make Jack extremely bitter. Baki was getting impatient waiting for his opponent to make a move, but it seemed like Pickle wasn't very interested. So, Baki approached the little guy and teased him, making Pickle extremely angry, asking who did Baki think he was to tease him like a helpless child. Along with his flattery, Baki unleashed a series of attacks, forcing the little guy to fall flat on his face. Baki had prepared his toys for today's battle, then he charged at Pickle relentlessly, terrifying the little guy to escape. However, there was no way to outrun the reckless Baki, so Pickle had to use all his strength to launch himself into the sky, then come crashing down with a powerful strike, hundreds of meters away. The impact created a shockwave that resonated far, although from the outside it seemed like nothing had happened. Deep inside Baki's organs were shattered into hundreds of pieces. Due to the shock from the fall of hundreds of meters, he felt like a massive boulder was trying to crush him. Pickle sensed this and felt guilty that the game had gone too far, causing harm to his new friend. He humbly apologized to his opponent, but Baki considered it a disgrace to a fighter, so he hit Pickle back, causing his body to convulse uncontrollably. Despite this, Baki still wanted to challenge opponent, surprising Pickles and then delivered an extremely slow attack, as if to say, "You want me to attack? Here it is." This caused Baki to feel the most humiliating pain he had ever experienced. Baki wanted to prove his combat prowess to his opponent, by launching another attack, makes Pickle extremely surprised. Pickle couldn't believe that this person could disguise himself as weak and vulnerable. While standing there, Baki gave him a few blows fell on his face. As Pickle stood up and approached, his brain began to tremble uncontrollably. He thought that Baki be a sorcerer manipulating the Earth's surface, making him unable to stand firm, despite having experienced even more terrifying things before, but this experience was indescribable for him. Not only that, Baki showcased a new skill, the ultimate whip technique. Despite his seemingly loose and weak body, the impact of his attacks was incredibly high, causing Pickle to cry out in pain. And today Pickle would experience that excruciating pain. He quickly switched to his hunting mode for defense, but this Baki guy kept changing skills relentlessly, using leper animals and other beasts that were no match for Pickle, making him wonder why Baki bothered with them. And finally, Baki unleashed his ultimate skill, summoning a giant rhinoceros figure along with several legendary dinosaurs that Pickle had fought before. This sight terrified Pickle, as he saw the entire lineup of mythical beasts protecting Baki. Just the thought of it made Pickle feel weak in the knees. Baki charged forward and delivered a powerful blow that sent Pickle sprawling to the ground, followed by several more attacks. Pickle tried to counterattack, but Baki stopped to let the impact hit him, and then used a single finger to send Pickle flying far away. Everyone was impressed by this skill, as Baki's martial prowess had reached new heights. Not only that, the little guy also knows how to humiliate opponent, when he dares to urinate on someone else's territory, making Pickle go crazy with anger and relentlessly attacking. But it seems Baki still doesn't show much remorse, so he threw a punch that sent the little guy flying into the air, with every strike now delivered with precision and increasing intensity. However, Pickle was taken aback when his attacks kept missing, so he had to resort to biting the little guy to see what would happen. To his surprise, the little guy's evasive speed was so fast that the naked eye couldn't even catch it, trying to land a hit on his opponent. But at that moment, Baki was fully prepared, as this would be an uppercut from below straight up, causing his opponent to cry out, with a bewildered look in his eyes and incoherent screams, leaving Pickle spinning in a 360-degree circle unable to stop. When I don't want to say that it was a devastating uppercut, but if anyone doesn't know, you can try it themselves. Pickle transitioned into his state of annihilation, with his bulging muscles activated, and this would be his ultimate form, bearing the scars of the past clearly visible on his skin, truly embodying the demonic force. If hit by one of his attacks, there would be nothing but death, so Baki had to exert all his strength to block those strikes. However, the reckless Baki just kept talking incessantly while fighting, and Pickle couldn't understand a thing, so he unleashed incredibly powerful blows. But Baki was not one to be outdone, gathering all his martial arts prowess to punch back at his opponent, creating a spectacle of martial arts, where both fighters displayed their skills. Baki's effective attacks made his opponent cry out in pain, as the intense battle unfolded like lightning, with Baki maintaining the advantage, and kicking Pickle far away with one powerful strike. Just when it seemed that the battle had a clear winner and loser, Baki introduced a new twist, proposing a face-to-face duel with no running or dodging. A fierce clash where they would exchange blows directly. The intense exchange erupted. Pickle's brute strength, causing the little guy to collapse to the ground, when unable to withstand the onslaught. However, Pickle didn't finish him off, as it was a moment of mutual respect and friendship. Baki's rescue team quickly intervened and took him for medical treatment, while Pickle has already sensed the people of this modern world. In the evening, they had a met on the rooftop, where Pickle was getting more accustomed to modern life, and the debates of the nations of the world happened, when Pickle entangled in media drama, leading to a voting session. The majority of votes favored putting Pickle back into a high-level hibernation state, leaving Professor Payne deeply disappointed, when he had considered Pickle to be his own son. However, Pickle showed up giving a special gift to the venerable Mr. Stridham, when Mr. Stridham kept his promise to Pickle, and since then, they no longer saw Pickle's presence. Today's video ends here, my friends. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel to support Onichan in the upcoming videos. Thank you for watching, and much love to all of you.